Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, as you know, our discussion is about the organization of federal, provincial and the district government. Still we are just wondering about the federal government, that is the most important. It doesn't mean that the provincial or the district governments are least important, yet the system starts from the federal government, and many of the people are bothering about the federal government because the policies are framed at the higher level and ultimately they trickle down towards the lower level to the districts and whatsoever. However, when there are the district governments or the union council level, these become more and more decentralized and powerful, the situation may change a bit from today to that one. So what we covered about in the previous lecture, much of your existing knowledge, it was just the refreshment of your existence knowledge. I know you may be suggesting some of the improvement to what level I taught you. I just concentrated on the general phenomena. We have very limited time. We have to go through all your course. Still, if you remember, we just talk about the federal government. So the federal government starts from the prime ministers. It has a team. I will not like to go into the detail. The team members, why there is a team? The team is just the separation or the division of the to achieve the objective. What is the simple objective of the government? To facilitate or to uplift the well-being of the people, or to make development or development and growth in the country. So this is the objective. It is being carried out through different ministries. So I can say that the ministries are under the federal government, ministries are some of the parts. Then there are the division, then there are the attached departments, then there are the subordinate offices that are also called the field departments. After this, there are the autonomous and the non-autonomous bodies. And how these are being run, these were only the mechanism of the different criteria of different divisions. So it is being headed by a political head, that is the minister, federal minister, that is from the political background. And you can see he may be from the Senate, he may be from the National Assembly. But the real, or you can say the administrative or the operational head, is the secretary. This is the hierarchy of the federal government officers. It starts from at the highest level is the secretary, that you can say there are many contended for the secretary, and ultimately it is the privilege of the political government to assign the duty of the secretary. No doubt there is certain criteria that enable a person or the officer for the secretary, starting from the section officer to deputy secretary, joint secretary, additional secretary and the secretary. But there are so many additional secretary, but only lucky wins the race. The similar, I would like to give the recent example of the Raheel Sharif. He was granted the post of the chief of army staff by superseding the General Rashid Mahmood and the General Aslam Farooq Aslam. So in this, what are their function? The secretary is responsible for the operational management, operational head of the operational management of his ministry, or you can say the department. So in this situation, he briefs the ministers to form the policies, and further minister is responsible before the prime minister for about his ministries. If there is any question about the railway ministry, particularly nowadays, Khaja Saad Rafiq is responsible for this, and from where the Khaja Saab get the information? He gets the information from the secretary of his railway ministry. So the lower officer, the additional and these secretaries, these are just to assist the secretary who is their boss, and all these are responsible to their immediate bosses. The secretary can call even up to the section officer, but he follows the systematic way. He gives commands to the additional secretary. Then there is the joint secretary, deputy secretary, and the section officer. So we will see now from the next slide, we will see that what the joint secretary does. We talked about the secretary, the additional secretary, and now there is the joint secretary. JS is now joint secretary is junior to the additional secretary. Secretary, additional secretary, and now there is the joint secretary. There is the hierarchy that was in the previous lecture slide. He works at the third level of administrative hierarchy, very powerful civil servant, particularly from different ministry to ministry. It is interesting to note that the secretary of different ministries have different powers. For example, secretary education, the same designation, the same system, he has come from the same system, but the secretary interior minister or the secretary information foreign ministry, these are much more you can say the powerful. Not in the powerful because the ministries, the importance of their ministry is very high. In division, he assists the additional secretary in charge as second command. He is, although he is at the third command, but when the additional secretary is given the charge of secretary, he becomes at the second command. So he assists his immediate boss, that is the additional secretary. He performs the duties as assigned by the secretary or the assistant secretary, because he is under the jurisdiction, under the control of the secretary and additional secretary. His only duty is to follow the commands and rules or the direction given by the secretary or the additional secretary. Deputy secretary, the second last civil servant in the officer hierarchy. A division or ministry is divided into wings. From here, this is ministry. M is now for ministry. There are divisions. There are attached departments. AD, attached departments. Not this is for the AD. It is for the attached department. And from there are, these are also called subordinate office. Subordinate offices, these are also called the field offices, and then there are the wings. It means it is now trickle down many things. ऊपर से जो एक थी hierarchy फैलते फैलते अब यहाँ पर there are so many wings. So a division or ministry is divided into many wings. The wings are further, and the wings are further divided into section. This is not this are, these are further divided into different sections. Administrative head of group of section is called the deputy section. Every section is headed by the deputy secretary. There are many wings, and each wings have different sections or group of section, and each group of section or one section is headed by the deputy secretary. Powerful man. Section officer, or you can call it that he is or she is the under secretary. Section officer is in charge of a section. Like similar here, the additional secretary, the deputy secretary is also in charge of the, you can say, the section, but there could be the combination of section 2, 3, 4, 5 or even more sections are under the control of the deputy secretary. He is, you can say, he is looking after, he may look after more than one sections. The section officer, as it is clear from his name, he is the head of his section. He is officer at the lowest ebb of the hierarchy. यहाँ से officer hierarchy जो है वो शुरू हो जाती है. He is at the lowest ebb. और दरमियान में क्या है? Here is the section officer, here is the secretary. So all this criteria is filled by the deputy secretary, additional joint secretary, and the additional secretary. He controls the officer of his sections. Section, what does the section officer? He controls many of the person working in his section. You will be looking at this, that at one stage, one side I am saying that he is at the lowest step of the officer, that how he controls the further officer, all the person who are below that rank, he controls them. For instance, to which he controls the clerks, the more difficult people to handle, assistants, similar situation in the record keepers, and stenotypists. These are many people that are working under the section officer. Section officer is the immediate boss of the clerk's assistant. He is responsible for their timings, their functioning, their responsibilities, their exit and entry on daily basis. Further, their forward their the leave, and these are related to his. He is the immediate boss of these people. Federal government. Here is a look at the federal cabinet. I have chosen some of the very powerful or the famous ministries, and I am dead sure that you are well aware of these names. Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan, Interior Minister, very powerful man, very important person. What is the responsibility of Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan? He is the political head of the Interior Ministry, and he is responsible law and order situation not only in the one province, but as he is the federal minister, he is responsible for all law and order related matters in the country. He is being assisted by the secretary, and further secretary is assisted by many other his junior staff like the additional and whatsoever. Whenever there is a problem of law and order, Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan is responsible for his. Can you tell me the previous person who was the interior minister? Rahman Malik, a very famous people, and there are many jokes about him because he is being criticized by public. He could not control the situation in the Karachi and Balochistan, and it is a very, very gigantic and difficult and Herculean task to maintain law and order, particularly in Karachi and Balochistan. And Nisar Ali Khan has taken this task, and he is in the habit of taking the bull by the horns. He is trying his ever best to control this law and situation phenomenon in Pakistan. Now there is operation in the Karachi, and a federal minister keeps the nation update about the operation, and we will never listen from the on the TV from the Prime Minister that the operation will going in, although on different media press conferences he says this, but most of the time we are listening from the Nisar Ali Khan that the operation will continue to maintain law and order. Pervez Rashid, Information Minister. This is also very famous. It defends the decision and it defends the criticism by the opposition on the media. Now media is a very powerful tool, and the Pervez Rashid has the task to propagate the policies of the government, to propagate the positive side of the government, and at the same time he defends the government, the acts of his government from different opponents or the critics. For example, if people say that this youth loan phenomena is rubbish, he will have to defend this, that what is this and that, and you know, sometime he is making statements about the Imran Khans and the other, so he has to react. He is a very cool and calm person, very intelligent guy. He has to react to many of the criticism made this, so you can say that he is the spokesman of the government. What the government wants, it is being implemented, it is being propagated through the Pervez Rashid, and most of the time he is under critics because you know the media is very powerful nowadays, and if unfortunately he speaks a word that is mistakenly spoken, media revise this again and again, and he has to face critic. Khaja Muhammad Asif, WAPDA, he has just taken the additional charge of the Defense Ministry. Very interesting story that why he immediately got the additional charge of the defense minister when there was the problem of the missing person, and the previous or the outgoing Chief Justice Iftikhar Muhammad Chaudhary was asking the government to present the missing person at any cost. And when he could not implement his decision, so he threatened that in the next proceedings or on the next date, the defense minister will have to appear in the court. And interestingly, the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has the defense ministry under his control. In other words, he was also the defense minister. He immediately handed over this charge to Khaja Muhammad Asif so that he avoids the presentation in the apex court. So it was a very strategic move to get rid of, to appear before the court, because it is not a very good sign that a prime minister appears in the court. In Pakistan, it has been happening nowadays on continuous basis. Gilani Gilani also appeared in the court, and the Raja Parvez Ashraf also did this. And had Nawaz Sharif not given this charge to the defense minister Khaja Muhammad Asif, there was the chance that he has to appear before the court. Khaja Saad Rafiq, very hard-working man, and he has given the task to uplift a falling wall. Why we call it the falling wall? It is a falling elephant, and you know that this is the biggest ministry in Pakistan, very large number of employees, very large assets, and always going into the deficit over the year. The deficit of the railway is very high and extremely high, and you can see there is the closure of many of the trains, and mechanism was totally disturbed. But there are good signs and gesture from the Saad Rafiq that we have listened a very few times in the history of Pakistan that there was decrease in the fare of in the railway fares. So it was a very strange that at one side the railway is going into the deficit, and Khaja, the railway minister, is doing this. He knows the situation, he knows the demand elasticities, and he do believes in this. I think it was a right move, and he will be generating more revenues as compared to the previous one. Then comes to the Muhammad Ishaq Dar, the lifeline of Pakistan, and he is the finance minister. Very competent guy in the previous government. He was also the prime minister of the he was also the finance minister of the Nawaz Sharif government. He is very famous for his, you can say, the calculated moves. Whenever there is a problem of increasing the salaries, he becomes a bit strict. He wants to use the resources very, very optimal ways. It is a good move, and he should do this, but at the same time he should keep in mind that there is the inflation, and the real income of the employees that have no other resources to generate income, it is going down. So he should keep an eye, and he should increase the salaries of the government employees over time. However, it is his privilege to do this or that. He knows more because he knows the limitation on the budget. We just can suggest he knows what from where to generate the revenues. He is the, you can say, he has to organize the finance side of all the projects, and this or that. 100 Arab rupees have been allocated for the youth loan, and who will have to arrange this? Finance minister will tell from where he is going to do this. He has got rid of the circular debt. That was just a big task, and it looks that he is performing in a better ways. Let's it start, and we see that where it is going. Riaz Hussain Peer said the inter-provincial coordination, when his duty is, the duty of his ministry is to bring provinces closer and closer to each other, and if there are any of the mismatches between or the grievances between the provinces, within the provinces, this ministry is going to solve this. Professor Ehsan Iqbal, planning and development. He is the policy maker of the economic development of the Pakistan. He is the deputy chairman of the Prime Minister is the chairman of the Finance and the Planning Commission. The Ahsan Iqbal is the deputy chairman of the, you can say, the federal minister for planning and development. So all the policies, for example, the 5-year plan, 10-year plan, Pakistan 2025, these all the visions are given by the Professor Ahsan Iqbal. His ministry is very important. He is the policy side. If he will be giving the policies and the finance minister will be allocating resources for this, whether it is possible for this or that. All the decisions are done by within the mutual consultation of the different ministries. Autonomous bodies. We will see its functions and we will just also sum of the name. Head by the chief executive. Any person who heads an autonomous body, he is called the chief executive, but this is not necessarily true. For example, in the university, if university is autonomous body, it is not being headed by the chief executive, it is headed by the rector, or in you can say the vice chancellor. In the province, the governor is the vice chancellor, governor is the chancellor, and in the universities that are under the jurisdiction of the federal capital, the president is the chancellor of the universities, but the universities that are related to the science and technology, the minister for science and technology is the chancellor of this government. Still, I would like to give a brief discussion on the governors, because I ignored this. I will be telling you that what are the governors. What are the functions? These autonomous bodies have some of the regulatory functions. They have some of the operational functions, corporate function, business functions, promotional functions, research and development, and the quasi-judicial function. So these are some of the major functions of any of the autonomous body that has to perform to implement its agenda or the policy given by the government. So what are the governor? I think I will state it at some next time where I have talked about the ministers, just chief minister. That is the right place to explain this. Here it will be a bit irrelevant because it is similar that their role is similar as the role of the president in the federal government. Their role is at the provincial governments. Criteria for autonomous bodies. How significance of goals and objectives. They should have some significant, important, crystal clear goal and objective. They are framed. For example, the clear objective of the university is to educate the people at the higher level. Its size and capacity to generate its own revenue. The revenues are the problem everywhere. Revenue, and revenue. Because if there are abundance of the revenue, then there will be no problem for the government to run the function. But as you know that the resources are limited, but the desires are unlimited. Similarly, the finance minister Ishaq Dar faces the same phenomena. There are so many expenditures items, but there is very limited resources. So its size and capacity should be in such kind that it could generate its own revenue. Then it is the autonomous body. But if it depends on the government for its revenue, though in some cases we see that the partial funding is being done by the government or the ministries, but most of the time we say that the autonomous bodies are self-independent, particularly in the revenue side. And if there is no liability of finance on the government doesn't make any interfere into the autonomous bodies. But whenever there is a funding, or you can say the financial influence and a financial dependence on the government, then definitely government takes a critical eye on this. पर government कहती है कि जी बंद करो, ये करो, वो करो. The employees of these bodies are considered as civil servants. So they, although the bodies are autonomous, they can take their own decision on the through their board of directors, board of governors, whatsoever the name for this, but still this is in these autonomous bodies, they are called the employees are called the civil servants. Their rules are formulated by board of directors. How to make the you can say the employment structure of the employees, it is totally based on the board of directors. They can increase the salaries of they can recruit, they can do what's about formulate policies about their employees. And what they say, these autonomous bodies do not receive any grant in aid from the federal government. Now link this one with this one. So as I said, they should generate, and they generate their resources independently, and they do not depend on the grant in aid from federal government. However, if the government give aid to them, they do not you can say refuse, but still they should not have the independence on these sources. That's why they are called the autonomous bodies. Formation of the board of directors. If you go here, all the decisions are made by the board of directors. Now you will see that indirectly the federal government will involve it, because how the board of directors are selected. Each AB, this is not the ABC, it is AB means autonomous body. From here you will see that the AB will stand for the autonomous body. Each autonomous body has its own board of directors. Different autonomous bodies, different board of directors. So what I am saying, each autonomous body has its own board of directors. Although some board of director, some members are the board of member of the boards in different even across autonomous bodies, yet this is too simple to say that कि हर जो है autonomous body इसका अपना एक board of director होता है. These are appointed by the federal government. Look at this. These are appointed by the federal government. So the federal government controls autonomous bodies by appointing their own, you can say the favorite, or you can say their liked persons at board of directors. As a board guiding principle of federal government. And how as a board guiding principle of federal government, so federal government what does? So what the meaning of this, that the federal government tries to direct or handle its direction through these board members or the board of directors. All the existing corporate bodies जो इस वक्त काम कर रही हैं, established under any act of legislation or company's ordinance. How these are framed, this is the more technical discussion, that there are the act of legislation or companies, this is the tort law, the corporate laws and many other things. It is not our subject here. Any established under any of the system, all these regulatory bodies, all these tribunals, sometimes these are called the regulatory bodies, tribunals and the development institution should function as autonomous bodies. Should function. It is not necessarily that each autonomous body is totally independent from the influence of the government. These are the politicized. However, it is assumed that the act or the ordinance says that all these tribunal, regulatory bodies or the development institution should work independently or autonomously. What is its relation with the ministry? Because we are looking the organization of the federal government, so how these are linked with the ministry? Because by looking at its name, autonomous body, it seems that these are something different from the others, and these are out of the jurisdiction of the ministry. This is not the situation. The board of AB's autonomous bodies have appropriate representative from the federal government. If you go to the previous slide, these are appointed by the federal government. Here Here what is this? Have appropriate representation from the federal government. Appropriate representation means it could be 2/3, it could be half, it could be 3/4, whatsoever the criteria is there. In cases where the federal government has to make financial commitment, in some of the cases of the autonomous bodies, the federal government have to pledge some of the financial responsibilities as compared to the textbook framework of the autonomous bodies. So most of the time they generate their own resources, but sometimes as the government's involved through the board of directors, it pledges situation that it provides funds to them. In case when the entire or partial expenditure is borne by the government. So government, there are also cases that the governments bore all the total expenditure of some of the activity, or the partially funds this. No reference should be made to ministry after the board decision. This is extremely critical and technical. Board of decision take the decision. For example, on the recruitment, on the employees structure of the employees, or any other thing. So when the decision is taken, this is called the decisions of the board of the directors. It is not called the decision of the ministry. So it cannot be referred to the ministry that the ministry has done this. This has been now the board of directors has to own this, and that's why we say that when the decision is over, it is attributed towards the board of directors. We can't say that this is the ministry of decision of the ministry. However, ministry may influence, but yet it is the responsibility of the ministry remained at the back, and ultimately it uses the directors for its decision. The procurement of goods and services by autonomous bodies should be made in transparent and competitive ways. Although these are the autonomous body, they can purchase, they can procurement goods and services by their own rules and regulations, but there should be transparency and the competitive decision, because when they have to present their audit, for example, for visiting faculty, the per hour remuneration differs from university to university. So all are the autonomous bodies. It means they can take their decision independently. If they generate more resources, they can set more criteria. If they think that the resources are lower, they have less resources, they can strict their policies. But one thing is clear, that all their decisions, despite their autonomous and independence net, it should be that all their decisions are transparent. ये नहीं है कि nepotism, favoritism or corruption, bribery, these are things the government, federal government may interfere, because these are not the jurisdiction of the you can say the Pakistan or the territory of geography of Pakistan. They are within the limits, and although the ministry doesn't directly interfere, indirectly it is under the jurisdiction. And if it is made on, for example, they give the tender for the procurement of the goods and services, it should have some standard procedure to follow up this, otherwise there may be the problem. Attached department, the head of each attached department is called the executive of the department, ED. ED is the head of the attached department. And what are the functions of the attached department? The executing arm of the ministry in addition to the ABs. ABs, autonomous bodies, they are also the arm of the ministries and these attached department, they are also the arm of the ministry. At the ministry, here is the ministry, and if you look at here, there are many other for this. Main criteria for ED executive, it should rather than executive director rather than department. Each main criteria for executive director is integral part of the operations and implementation of ministry's policies, program and projects. काम वहीं से जो है वो शुरू हो रहा है. सारी पॉलिसीज जो है वो वहीं से, इफ यू गो फॉर द पॉलिसीज ऑफ द universities, it start from the rector, pro-rector, in charge campus, deans, etc., blah blah blah, what you call it, this is up to you. So all the implementation and the operations of ministries, policies, program and projects fully dependent for their finances and manpower on government. These are not the autonomous body. We will see the difference between the autonomous bodies and the attached department. These are fully, the autonomous bodies are not dependent upon the government for their financial needs, but these attached department, they are fully dependent on the government for their financial needs. Relation with the ministry, report to the ministry. All the executive director of the attached department, ultimate their responsibility is to report to the ministry. So what they report to the ministry, they tell their you can see the performance, that what task was designed to them, assigned to them, and how they achieved within the time, how it was implemented, how remaining part is there, and how it could be achieved, and what is the further requirement, is there any need to change the mechanism. They all report to the minister. Other the responsibilities of these attached department is they prepare an annual work plan and budget to be reviewed and approved by the ministry. Every ministry have its budget. Ultimately that is going to the federal budget that is presented on in the June, the last month of the financial year in Pakistan. Financial year ends at 30th June and start at the 1st July. It is not necessary that everywhere the financial year is the same. Calendar year is everywhere is the same, but financial differs from this. In India it starts in March. In other countries there are the example that it is as the calendar year starts from the 1st January. The head of executive department will be delegated the powers of principal accounting officer by the secretary of the division. Look at here, साल का ये जो है वो मंसूबा साजी करते हैं कि what will be the function, balance sheet, and this is the budget to be reviewed and approved by the budget. ये बना के जो है मिनिस्ट्री को भेज देते हैं. And now it is the privilege of the ministries whether they approved this budget or they review this. They ask that this should be increased, this should be decreased. It is done by the ministry. And the executive department will be delegated director. Executive director will be delegated the powers of principal accounting officer. Now his duty is to perform all this. And who designate this duty to him? That the secretary of the division. So the secretary has the power to delegate the powers of principal accounting officer to the executive director of each division. The goals and targets will be monitored by the minister and the secretary jointly. This that we are going through, that the attached department, the political head, that is the minister, and the operational head, that is the secretary, they are jointly responsible to see the goals and targets that they have assigned to this, that how they are achieved or not. This was the federal organization, and now we are entering into the other domain, that is the provincial organization. Very smart and simple question. How many provinces of Pakistan? 4. Then what is the Gilgit-Baltistan? You can think about this, that it has not the same status as has the other provinces, and it is not the part of the National Finance Commission that is designed for the allocation of financial resources to the provinces. And at the same time there is another government that is the part of the Pakistan Confederation, that is the government of Azad Kashmir. They have their own president, they have their own prime minister, but still you know this, that this is just their independence, but they are working with the collaboration of the Pakistan. Their defense is our defense. We have the commonality of defense, information, information and the foreign affairs. These ministries are common. Now the provincial organization. Provincial organization is most or less the same. The work procedures of provincial government in Pakistan in many ways are similar to those of the central. सिर्फ इसमें कुछ जो है वो नेम चेंज होंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हु इज द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हेड ऑफ द प्रोविंस? गवर्नर. There was the constitutional head of the state, that was the president. So the governor is the representative of the federal government. He is not representative of the provincial government. He is appointed by the president and he represents the federal government. However, he is the ceremonial, or it can be said that he is the constitutional head of the province. And interestingly, he is not being elected. He is not the elected person. He is appointed by the president, and president has its wholly solely privilege to appoint any of the governors, although he does this on the suggestion or the recommendations of the Prime Minister. However, they are the control of the president. कैसे जो है ये similar है? There are provincial secretaries attached offices. Provincial secretariat, here there is the central secretariat, that is called the secretariat that have the different ministries: finance ministry, education ministry, interior ministry. If you go to the federal secretariat, you will see this one. And provincial secretariat, there are provincial secretariat in all the provincial capitals in Lahore, Karachi, Quetta and the Peshawar, and they have the attached offices. Similar, the ministries that will be called the provincial ministry, the secretary, the additional and all other, this one or that one, there are attached offices, there are also the division. The working of these organizations are similar as that of federal administration with some modification and adjustment. थोड़ा बहुत जो है वो इसमें जो है वो difference जरूर है, but it is not much different, significantly different from their functions are from there. If we look at the chief minister, as we went through the federal cabinet, at the apex of the province is the chief minister. What is there is a similar difference between the prime minister and the president, as there is a difference between the chief minister and the governor. But one thing is different. The president is elected. The governor is not elective person. He is chosen by the prime minister. But he is appointed by the president on the advice of you can say the prime minister. Like prime minister, the executive head, or you can say the head of the machinery, is in the apex province's chief minister. He is elected, and he is elected on the same basis as the president. Prime minister is elected in the National Assembly. Chief minister is being elected from the provincial assembly. It is necessary for him that he is the member of the provincial assembly. For the president, it is not the requirement. For the governor, no requirement, and the governor is not the elected person also. And he is elected by the simple majority. For example, if there are 371 members in the Punjab, and if we divide it by this 186, if there are 186 members, 186 members support any of the person, he can become the chief minister of the Punjab province. Chief minister is whose chief staff is the chief secretary. Chief secretary is the most powerful person in the province. Chief secretary is not the secretary of any of the provincial ministries. You can say he is the captain of the secretaries. In the simplest way to just clear my argument, I can say that he is the captain of the secretary is there, the most powerful person in the province. He is the administrative head of the province. The political head is the chief minister. Chief minister is the head of provincial cabinet. इसकी भी एक टीम होती है province की, जिस तरह as the prime minister has his team, they are called the federal government. Here he has the provincial cabinet and controller of the provincial ministries. All the ministries are under the control of the chief minister, and the chief minister has the total privilege to assign any of the portfolio to the any National Assembly member. He can take into his cabinet, no restriction in the rules and regulation. And at the same time, like the prime minister, he can remove or reshuffle or take back any of the portfolio from any of the minister. Minister cannot go to the court, but if he removes the secretary, look at the beauty of this. The political head of the provincial assembly is the chief minister. Chief minister can remove any of the minister, but chief minister cannot remove without any proper reason any of the secretary, because they are the civil servants and they are being protected by the civil servant law of the Pakistan. Election, it is being simple majority. So I would like to share some of the names of our chief minister, not the sum of the names. We have 4 provinces. Shahbaz Sharif, very lucky man, the 3rd time prime minister of chief minister of Punjab, the biggest province of the Pakistan according to the population, the more powerful chief minister in Pakistan, because half of the population is under his control. Qaim Ali Shah, in the previous government, he was also the chief minister of Sindh. He is in this government, again he is the representative of the province, and he is from the political party of the PP. This time there is a very beautiful combination and a very good gesture that the democracy is getting roots in Pakistan. In Punjab, the government is of the party that is ruling in the federal capital. But in KPK, you can see that there is not the government of the PMLN that is ruling in the federal. Similarly, in Sindh, the PPA's opposition in the federal, or you can say in the National Assembly, but it has its political government in the Sindh province. So this is a very, very good gesture for the development of the democracy, because each party who has right to formulate the government in any of the province, they have given right. There is not usurpy, but if we see the previous example, terrible scenes, unbelievable scenes, and you can quote the example that when there was a party who has least majority as compared to the major party, he was declined to form the government. And I am sure that if Nawaz Sharif wanted to interfere into the KPK, it was very easy through the help of the Maulana Fazlur Rahman, who is always there to help the government to have his own objectives. But Nawaz Sharif did not do this. And one more example is that every time there is a change of government in the Pakistan, there is also change of the government in the Azad Jammu and Kashmir, AJK. But this time again Nawaz Sharif gave a very good, and you can say showed the tolerance, and he never sported when there was the you can say the move to change the government in the Azad Kashmir. So these are the gesture, and as we are getting roots at snail pace, but it is a very, very big gesture that it is very good for this. We are going this. Dr. Abdul Malik, that is from the Balochistan, very disturbed province, and he is trying hard to regain the confidence of the people. We are making we means our governments or the political or the real stakeholder are not taking good decision. They are not learning from the strategy from the fall of Dhaka. We did the same thing to the Bengalis, and ultimately there was very, very horrible and unbelievable results for this. So we should suggest that the whole power should be in the hands of the political government, because the political government can negotiate with the people who are not who are angry with the government. And if we can see there, the FCs and the army are although the army is denying this, and I am not still clear about this, and I have talked to some of my students, or you can say from the army, and they are live personnel at the rank of the brigadiers or this or that. They do convince me that there is no military operation. So now I have to be convinced. Before this I was not convinced for this, and I was also looking at the media. I was convinced or influenced by the media, but still media's eyes, media's hue and cries cannot be ignored. And if we ignore this, at least the power is still in the hands of the establishment in the Balochistan province, and on many occasions the Dr. Abdul Malik has acknowledged that he is not the fully powerful person in the province, and he should be like others. Pervez Khattak, that is the, you can say, supported by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, trying hard to re-establish the confidence of the people. That is the more stricken, war-stricken, or you can say the province. So there are very gigantic targets there. Up to here, Shahbaz Sharif is famous for his, you can say, the administrative skills, and he has proved this. That's why his role cannot be ignored in getting the seats or winning the election of this. So we will now start the hierarchy of the provincial civil servants. The chief secretary, he is the senior most civil servants. Official head of the provincial secretariat. He is the official head of the chief minister is the political head of the province, and the official head of the province is the chief secretary. What is his work? He enables to perform his function properly. There is a secretary in every department. चीफ सेक्रेटरी साहब की जो है वो खिदमत तो मैं जो है वो नहीं कहूँगा, उसकी जो है वो हेल्प करने के लिए देयर आर other civil servants, because one secretary, a chief secretary, cannot perform all the duty. There are many secretaries that can help him. The secretary of secretary education, interior secretary, trade secretary, whatsoever. There are so many secretaries in the secretariat. Secretariat में आप जाएं तो आपका दिमाग घूम जाए that how complicated the system is there. Why these secretaries are not making this system so easy and not proposing to the government to make this system so easy and comfortable for the people, so that the problem of the people are solved very quickly. If you have the experience to go to any secretariat, irrespective of the province, go to the Karachi, Lahore, Peshawar or Quetta, you will see that it is very, very difficult to perform your work without giving the bribery. It do exist in all the provinces, secretariats with varying degrees. So what is the duty? The chief secretary can take actions against the civil servants. The chief minister can do this, but I don't know what are the reason and what are the limitation that over the years of years the British regime, British mechanism is going on and on. We have to introduce some of the innovations so that we get rid of this. Then there is additional secretary. I think need not to explain this again. Chief secretary, the official head of the whole province. Secretary of the concerned ministry, additional secretary, Joint Secretary, Deputy Secretary, and the section officer. All these are called the federal secretaries. They are called the provincial secretaries. Minister, there are the provincial ministers. These are the, you can say that rather than the federal cabinet, these are now the provincial cabinet. He is the in charge of his department or the ministry. I will be going now quickly because we have talked about lot this. Responsible for advising chief minister on policy formulation. Federal government के लोग प्राइम मिनिस्टर को जो है वो एडवाइस जो है वो देते थे कि वो जो है वो इस तरह के जो है वो डिसीजन ले. Here the provincial cabinet advises, gives suggestions, convince the chief minister to formulate different policies and keeping him informed about the working of his department. For example, if you are the health minister, you will update and inform the chief minister about all your activities, progress, projects, performance, limitations of your project. If you are the interior ministry, you are responsible for the law and order situation in the province. Political head of the department, minister is the political head of the department. अब वो सारी बातें जैसे हमने कहा कि the provincial mechanism is not much different from the federal mechanism. So the political head of the ministry is the provincial minister now. There are the minister for state at the provincial level also. He is directly answerable to the chief minister. Now there are allied departments also, attached departments also. Major branch or unit of government administration. The same thing that there was, they have their roles. This is just the decentralization of the authorities to perform the or to achieve the specific objectives. It stands immediately below the chief executive. Here is the ministry. There are the you can say the different division. From division, these are the departments. Then you will see that there are the autonomous bodies and the other are called, these are called the field department also. And if I would like to say that there are wings also. There are then sections. So the same stories that was explained in the previous lecture. Departments are the major administrative units which conduct the business of the provincial government. Not the provincial government. If they are in the federal government, they do the same thing. And if they are in the provincial government, they are the major tools, major administrative units which conduct the business of the government. Business government क्या? Government को profitable काम करती है. The business of the government is to deliver the service. Education दें लोगों को, सेहत दें, law and order की जो है वो situation दें. This is the daily business of the government. Now I think you have guessed that rather than going the administrative head, secretary, additional secretary and whatsoever, you have guessed that this is the time for the curtain to fall, and before falling the curtain I will be doing my duty. I am very familiar with your habit that you always try to listen the brief summary of the lecture at the end, because you have gone through this, and I am sure you will be enjoying the summary of this lecture. So what was the summary of this lecture? If you go to this, we started from the federal organization of the government, we entered into the province. And what was the conclusion there? The conclusion is very simple there, that there is not much difference of mechanism between the provincial and the federal government. So what I am saying indirectly, if you learn exactly and you are very clear about the mechanism, jurisdiction or the machinery in the federal, you can easily implement it on the province. Provincial head, who is the provincial head? The governor is the provincial head. The chief minister is the chief executive of the, or you can say the political head of the province. We have 4 provinces. We gone through the chief ministers, Shahbaz Sharif, Qaim Ali Shah, Dr. Abdul Malik and Parvez Khattak from the different provinces. So in the province there is a chief secretary that is the official head of the government, and there are many secretaries that are assisting him. The mechanism is same, that this is to deliver this. There are ministries, divisions, attached departments, sections, wings, and whatsoever, the same mechanism. What is the purpose of this? This is just the decentralization to perform the objectives and the business of the government. So as there is the government wants to deliver the services, to perform its duties, it performs through different mechanism, departments, ministries, attached departments, autonomous bodies, corporation, and whatsoever. So in the next class, our target is to talk about, just very quickly, about the secretaries and at the provincial level, and then we will keep on going in through our respective course. So till that time, I would like to say you goodbye. Allah Hafiz.